Hello, YouTubers, and welcome back to the new and improved Oathbreakers series here on YouTube on the Ohio Patriot Education Network YouTube channel. I am, as always, your host, Air the Ohio Patriot, and for today's episode, we're going to talk about pre-Oathbreaker and current Democrat candidate for District 45, Landon Meador, or Meador, I forget this guy's name, whatever. So this guy, who is currently running against incumbent Jennifer Gross come November, claims to be Ohio first. He is a fucking liar. He is 100% toe the Democrat line. The only thing I haven't seen his profile there on X right now, because I don't think I've looked back far enough what it is his stance on gun rights in this state, honestly. Because everything else, he's all pro-abortion, he's all pro this other stuff, which could be something too. Because I know there are some of these candidates that are running for office right now because, of course, going back to 2013 with scumbag John Casey's that rhino sack of shit. You had him basically fuck over our primary system, where it used to be could be, Democrat, Republican, Libertarian, Green Party, Independent, et cetera, in the primary system there. When Casey was running for re-election in 2013, he actually had the supermajority at the time redo things to where we became a two-party primary state, which is absolute bullshit, by the way, because there is way more two parties in this country, honestly, dude. Politically is what it is. And my thinking is this Landon guy, given the fact that I was looking over his answers to the Ballotpedia thing a little bit ago here, and then looking at his X account, there's what it was, and him shit talking gross about being all pro-life and stuff like that's what it is. And it's interesting to me because it sounds like this guy may be, in fact, a party line libertarian. And by party line, party platform, I should say, actually, is what it is. With party platform libertarians, these are the people who are, because I've talked about this before on these things, whether it be Oathbreakers, whether it be, grandstands, whether it be, Buckshot Thursday, Freedom Friday, etc., what it is there. The thing is, with a lot of people, though, is they will sit there and toe the line because with the line being towed, when you look at how the Libertarian Party even came to be in the 70s, it was a bunch of disillusioned, disaffected Democrat people that created that party. So, of course, one of their main platforms was abortion, being pro-abortion in many cases, which that's the difference between those people and what I thought the party was, and I was, backing Ron Paul and stuff back in the day, because Ron Paul was the outlier in that one. He was actually a guy who had like a diversion version of the Libertarian Party where it was pro-life, which is not the actual, mainstay party is what it is there. They're all pro-abortion, pro-baby murder, stuff like that's what it is there. And the thing is, here's the thing, right? When you look at so-called Article 1, Section 23, which is the bullshit they put in place last year with a November election for the abortion measure, which should never been on the ballot, by the way, to begin with, because it was unconstitutional to begin with. It violated Article 1, Section 1 of the Ohio Constitution for centuries now, is what it is. And like I said before, the fact that we're not having actual legislation be fought on those grounds to null and void that bullshit Article 1, Section 23 is a bunch of crap entirely. Because even just looking at Article 1, Section 1 of the Ohio Constitution, which is quite simple. You can go to look it up right here is what it says. It says all men are by nature free and independent and have certain inalienable rights, among which are those of enjoying and defending life and liberty, acquiring, possessing, and protecting property, and seeking and obtaining happiness and safety. So, pretty sure you can't have any of that, dude, if you don't have fucking human life, is what it is. And that's the problem with these default Democrats, these libertarian types, etc. there, that toe that party line bullshit, that toe that mass genocide bullshit. And for those wondering what I'm talking about, oh, by the way, speaking of who I'm actually talking about in this whole situation, this Landon guy, this is a picture of what this guy looks like, is what it is. I'm going to pop up here in a sec. This is what this clown looks like right here, man. Who, like I said, is running for District 45. There and by the way, I don't think he has a chance of winning just based on the primary results here, because usually primaries are an indication of how heavily one of these districts leans one way or the other. And the fact this guy got just over 3,000 votes in the primary and Jennifer Gross got almost 11,000, that's pretty much indication of how that district's going to go come November. It's going to be hard red is what it is. So I guess DeWine did a state of the state today is what it was too, where he was talking about how Ohio is doing so great, like future generations and stuff like that, which he's straight up lying, by the way, in many cases, because I guess that HB6 stuff that happened a couple years ago with household went down. I've talked this before, by the way. And by the way, for those interested, I am not Republican. I am not Democrat. I am an internet libertarian. I am a party I created in 2016 that actually takes the best of everything right now, including human life, pro-life, pro-2A, actual constitutionalist is what it is here. And doing what needs to be done is what it is, man. And so the entire point is, though, of course, I'm, forced to go to that two-party primary system is what it is, though. So, of course, I have to, default vote Republican. That's what it is. Not by choice, obviously. But again, it's because it's fucking bullshit two-party primary system is what it is there, man. So it's like, why would I ever vote Democrat in this country, honestly, dude? Seriously, what? Here's a question I have for everybody out there, man. Why would you ever run as a Democrat unless you back child molesters, dude? Unless you're a pedophile enabler in this country. Because that's exactly what that party is, dude. It's a bunch of people who will sit there and literally look a blind eye to actual fucking child molesters like Joe Biden and other people like that in the Democrat Party. Who will look at Hollywood, see the fucking kid rape going on over there all the time. They're all backing Democrats and shit over there, by the way, too, for that matter. And again, turn a blind eye to that shit. And yet they want to talk about fucking pay-to-play scandals and all that. Like, dude, I've been calling this shit out as a fucking third-party person for over 6 fucking years now. When I tried to run for governor in 2018 as a write-in candidate, which, by the way, was a fucking joke about candidacy is what it was at that time. And I'm looking back at that now, 6 years later, I understand that right now, honestly, dude. That's the entire point, though, right? Is that's when I got my eyes opened up to how corrupt this fucking state was back then. And I've been calling that shit out all the time, dude. That's why I did the Oathbreaker series years ago is what it was. And now I'm bringing it back again now. So, but yeah, anyway. So we had that Landon guy was bullshitting about. I guess there was a thing where Jennifer Gross was at the other day. Here's what it is. Where, as this Heather woman claimed, she said, Representative Jennifer Gross won't uphold the Ohio Constitution. What a shame. And what she's actually talking about is because Gross went on record as saying, no, she won't fucking uphold bullshit unconstitutional garbage like Article 1, Section 23. That shouldn't even be in the fucking Ohio Constitution to begin with what it is, dude. And like I said before, when you can look at the, like seriously, this is the problem with Frank LaRose entirely as Secretary of State right now, dude. This guy's entire job as Secretary of State is to look into voter fraud, which clearly happened last November for that abortion amendment. When you had kids all over fucking Reddit that don't have legal rights to vote in this state because they're out of state, they come from out of state to go to college, here's what it is. And their entire address is still in their fucking home state. And yet they're talking about voting in our elections, dude. Like, how is that not electoral fraud for the matter? For God's sakes. How's not voter fraud, dude? And it's not just that either, by the way. You can look into all kinds of shit, dude. Like, there's all kinds of shit where people have been doing fucking voter fraud. Hell, looking back to 2018, for God's sakes. When you got Sherrod Brown's Judge Buddy here, fucking the Friday before that Tuesday election, puts almost 300,000 purge people back on the fucking voter rolls that were either dead, had moved out of state, or were illegal aliens using other people's names and stuff. And then conveniently, that next Tuesday, after those 300K are added back on, Sherrod Brown conveniently wins a U.S. Senate seat by 270,000 some odd votes then? Are you fucking kidding me, people? By the way, that entire election cycle for every major seat went Republican except for piece of shit Sherrod Brown? And there's not an immediate investigation open in that whole thing? Like, what the fuck, people? Is it maybe because both fucking major parties are corrupt as fuck in this state? And if you actually did investigate Sherrod Brown's 2018 sheet, you would also look and see that Mike DeWine cheated. You would also look and see that fucking Rich Corddry, who was running against him for governor at the time, both use dead people to fucking throw on their ballots and stuff like that. You would also see the fact that you had fucking other people in the race, both Republican and Democrat, doing all kinds of shady shit behind closed doors. Or let's not forget how in 2019, literally a month after I was federally swatted, you had fuckface Casey Weinstein, who is now trying to run for the state Senate, by the way, after being termed out of the state house, breaking term limits, by the way, in the process. This fucking asshole prints off a bunch of quote-unquote tyrant memes, puts him in his own fucking mailbox, fakes like he had a fucking hate hoax against him is what it was, dude. Or sorry, somebody was hating on him as a fucking tyrant, which was just a hoax, by the way, at the end of the day. Misused USPS system at the time, should be catching federal felonies for that one alone is what it is, for misusing postal service what it is. And then on top of that, proceeds to 3 days after that on the Wednesday, turns and actually posts his fucking printer on a Facebook buy-sell trade site, which is all, by the way, digital evidence out there of this whole thing. And then sells a fucking printer off he used to print those memes out was what it was, dude. Never investigated for that shit. Then meanwhile, almost 3 years ago now, in May 2021, you had piece of shit Allison Russo, another fucking Democrat, take a fucking fat envelope like this from a Moms Main Action member on camera during a House Oversight Committee hearing on constitutional carry and other stuff. And again, was not investigated. Talked to my state rep, who's not going to be a state rep anymore come the end of the year. Here's what it is, Reggie Stolfis. And he's like, yeah, it's kind of hard just to investigate an envelope. It's like, dude, it's obviously packed full of fucking cash. Like the fact that you have people from a known anti-gun organization who are employees of a fucking billionaire scumbag child molester named Michael Bloomberg, and you don't investigate that shit? Like, if nothing else, looks suspicious as fuck anyway, dude. It's like you have a random ass Moms Demand Action person handing a big fucking envelope to some fucking state rep, dude. Like, I don't know, maybe investigate that. Maybe, I don't know, look into the rest of the CCTV cameras you got in the fucking state house there everywhere and track Alice Russo's movement for the next hour or two. See where the fuck she goes with that envelope in her fucking purse now. Hell, if she goes to fucking, oh God, I'm trying to think what that woman's name is now. She was the old Supreme Court justice here in the state of Ohio that ended up getting, out due to age is what it was there. Who, by the way, tried to fuck over our maps after that's what it was for different election periods and stuff like that. But yeah, if she had gone directly to her fucking office, dude, and handed that fucking envelope off, whatever the case be, like you could see like the fucking the pay-to-play scandal shit there is what it is, dude. You could actually see the actual fucking bribery from one bribe person to another bribe person is what it is then. But they didn't even bother doing that shit. And that's what I'm saying. And then you got this fucking idiot Landon talking about, oh, I'm Ohio first. It's like, no, you're not, dude. What you are is you are literally a fucking party line Democrat, buddy. You know, you're talking about Gross not respecting the Constitution, yet what she's actually talking about is respecting human life, dude. Which actually is the first article of our Constitution, you jackass. So, anyway. Yeah, this was the video here from Jennifer Gross. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she just said, didn't it? It's actually not, dumb bitch. It's actually not, you stupid cunt. Okay, so I'm gonna have to stop. I'm assuming this Heather girl that actually shared this shit was the dumb bitch who was the one talking to Gross at the time. So here's the thing, you stupid fucking cunt. It's not the will of the voters. It was the will of a bunch of fucking cheater-ass Democrats in a major city in the state. When you actually look, by the way, here's the whole thing about that right now, right? There's a reason why the fucking piece of shit Democrat Party and by Michael Bloomberg and George Soros, two eugenicist fucking asshole Nazis. Specifically, Soros was a fucking Nazi collaborator, by the way, for those who don't know about that one. Dude literally fucking admitted that shit on a 60 Minutes interview decades ago about how he was literally helping fucking send other Jewish people to death camps in World War II to then to steal their fucking wealth and amass his fortune that way. And then you got fucking fuckface Bloomberg, who made his entire fortune by fucking short selling stock and doing all kinds of shady shit like that's what it was, dude. But yeah, you got these motherfucking actual Nazi collaborators and fucking pieces of shit like that, dude. Gun grabbing assholes who were 100% behind both the shit against the original issue 1 back in August of 2022, and then the pro-abortion shit that became issue 1 in November that year. They were funding all that crap, dude. And the thing of it is, though, is there's a reason why Democrats did not want a 6% threshold in this state, which, by the way, exists in like 40 plus other states in this country right now. It's because they knew they could never get the 6% threshold, dude, which they didn't have, by the way. You had them lie because they had the fucking first results things, what it was, and it was like the early voting people, whatever, and it was like, yeah, it was like 70% in their fucking favor, whatever, with like a couple thousand people voting and shit at that point. But then as you had more and more people's votes come in, is what it was, it kept going down and down and down and down and down to the point that at the end of it, it was like 53% or something like that is what it was, dude. And when you look at the difference between the two things, between the yes and the no votes, it was like a million-ish people, give or take. Which is literally a major city worth of fucking Democrat voters, dude, at that point. So yeah, it's not the will of the people. It's the will of a bunch of fucking retard pieces of shit, fucking college-age kids, or even high school-age kids that have been indoctrinated for the past 12, 13 years of their fucking lives at this point, who want to sit there and bitch and moan, and instead of actually using proper birth control, like being on the fucking pill or having a dude use a condom, or, I don't know, actually having a morning after pill or something like that available to you. No, they want to fucking use abortion as birth control, is what it is. And that's not reproductive freedom, people. That's fucking mass genocide of the unborn at this point. It needs to be treated as such at this point, honestly, in history. And that's what I've said before. It needs to not just be these fucking abortionist doctors and stuff like that getting charged with mass genocide at this point, dude, getting charged with crimes of humanity, etc. There's what it is. It needs to be people like Nan Whaley. It needs to be people like all these other motherfuckers that are allowing this shit to go on, is what it is there, dude. Because, by the way, I'll point something out with Nan Whaley, who was ex-Dayton mayor there, who tried to run for the governorship 2 years ago, is what it is now, against DeWine. Whaley, at the time, during the lockdowns, when you had every other place being shut down, she's like, oh, well, we got to keep the Planned Parenthoods and other abortion clinics open because, people need to be able to keep killing their kids in the womb here. Obviously, she didn't say it verbatim like that is what it was, because you would prove that she was a goddamn mass murdering piece of shit is what it is. But no, she's like, oh yeah, people still need reproductive health care is what it is here. It's like, fuck you, cunt. You are literally a demonic piece of shit, Nan Whaley. And so is the rest of the fucking Democrat Party, for that matter, dude, that support this crap. It's absolutely fucking disgusting is what it is, dude. And no, Article 1, and that's the thing too, by the way. I want to point something out on this one, dude. When Jennifer Gross took her oath of office, which, by the way, was at the beginning of the 2021-2022 legislative season, Article 1, Section 23 did not exist there, is what it is. Now, granted, she has since retaken the oath, but again, does not include that stuff, because as far as I'm aware right now, there is groups out there currently that are fighting this shit in the court system to basically say Article 1, Section 23 isn't just in the state is what it is, dude. Nor should it exist for that matter. Because again, if you actually look into it, not only was there voter fraud going on there, it was I've been talking to people about that to begin with, honestly, dude. And it's like, because I've talked to some of my family and stuff that voted for the shit is what it is, or family and friends that voted for the shit is what it was. And they're just like, well, I don't want my daughters to get fucked over. I don't want my family to get fucked over. It's like, dude, like, what are you talking about? And they're like, oh yeah, those ad buys that people did, and they were talking about, oh, it's gonna, shred our constitution and all that. Like, it's all fucking lies, dude, is what it is. Like, that's why some people got fooled with the August one, dude, because it was fucking Bloomberg and Soros doing a fucking ad buy where they had a pair of scissors cutting apart the Ohio Constitution, the 6% threshold thing, and then turn around November, and it's like, oh, you want to have your wife and your daughter and everything else like that be able to, have elective surgeries and stuff like that, essentially is what it is. And not be, burdened with like D&Es and shit like that is what it is. where they, miscarry and stuff like that, and they gotta take out what's left of the kid is what it is inside the womb is what it is, so that they don't, so that doesn't actually fuck the woman up and stuff is what it is there. Which, by the way, while that is a thing, is what it is, it's not as big of a thing as it could be, honestly, dude. Like, it still is a percentage of the thing, or whatever the case be, but there's a lot less of those, and there's actual fucking abortion in this country is what it is, dude, where you actually kill kids in the fucking womb. So, but anyway, going back to this fucking stupidity from this Heather woman. So you had her bullshit lying about what Article 1, Section 23 actually is what it is there. Because it is unconstitutional. Every way. Mm-hmm. I fucking hate these smug ass Democrats fucking voices, dude. Yeah, so basically that's what it was. And she was basically saying, like, yeah, it's unconstitutional because it directly, and it is, by the way, because it directly breaks Article 1, Section 1 of the Ohio Constitution that's been state law since the beginning of this fucking state was founded, dude, in the 1800s. Like, it's a state, by the way, and I've said it before, I'll say it again, dude. It's like every gun thing in this country, right? Every single anti gun law in the books right now, dude, could easily be done away with in one fell swoop. You fight it under Marbury versus Madison 1803 is what it is. Two of our founding fathers that had an issue with the constitutionality stuff. A thing that's been on the books right now for 221 years. And it's the same thing like this, dude. Like this bullshit Article 1, Section 23 crap should be fired in Marbury versus Madison. It is an unconstitutional piece of legislation that directly violates the beginning of this state's constitution. And based on that alone, it should be looked as overt to begin with. That's what it is. End of fucking story. So, but anyway, going back to the rest of Landon's feed, here's what it is. So you had him saying other kinds of bull. I love how this fucking thing is labeled here. It's like Ohio first focused on protecting your freedoms, the only pro-freedom, pro-rights candidate. Except you're not, dude. Like you're not even a fucking pro-rights candidate, buddy, because you're trying to restrict people's rights to life at that point. For God's sakes, like that's one. You probably want to restrict 2A rights, is my guess, honestly, on that one too. Which, like I said, I'm just trying to look for a tweet at this point to show that shit. So. But yeah, it's just fucking ridiculous what it is, dude. And then you see their shit talking gross. Obviously, that's his opponent in the end of the day. Here's what it is. And what's funny to me too, by the way, is how, like for instance, one of these tweets that this Landon guy put out a couple days ago is what it is here. You have him talking about how, where's that here now? Yeah, he talked about DeWine State. This was yesterday. He was talking about this. He was talking about the state of the state or whatever the case be. He was like crumbling infrastructure, rampant corruption, failing education, unacceptable healthcare, restrictive reasoning, which I'm assuming he means abortion. Is what it is there. Segregated voucher programs, a looming $10 million plus deficit, etc. So here's the thing, right? You'll say rampant corruption, but you won't actually admit that it's both parties, dude. It's like the same exact thing when people talk about ending gerrymandering in the state, yet they'll never actually admit the only reason that Democrats hold 30 plus seats in the state house right now is because they gerrymander themselves other fucking districts in major cities, dude. So instead of having a one county, one rep situation where it's, we have 88 counties in the state of Ohio, you have 88 reps in the state house instead of 99. No, they'll sit there and take those other 11 seats and stuff like that and make, 10, 12 fucking seats in Franklin County where Columbus is at, 10, 12 seats in Cuyahoga County where Cleveland's at, another 6, 7 seats down in Hamilton County where Cincinnati's at, another 4 or 5 seats up there in Toledo area, another 3 or 4 seats wherever the hell Dayton's located county-wise and stuff. And that's exactly where their shit's made up from, is what it is. Like there's zero fucking reason to have like 5, 6, 10 people from a single fucking county, bro. Unless you're trying to gerrymander yourself more seats in the state house, what is there. And I've even said it before, dude. Like Stark County, here where I live at, there's 3 different Republicans that represent this county, dude. There should be 1. Like there's no need for there 2, honestly. So anyway. Oh, I guess I should have paid attention to this one even because I went down further and stuff like that to Landon's ass. Because yeah, this was from 2 days ago. This piece of shit said, where's that? Lindsey Graham, Jennifer Gross, and so many others flaunt the quote late/post-term abortion problem. It's a talking point. If it's late term, more than likely it's due to the risk of the mother or child's life. I'm still mind boggled on post-term abortions. That doesn't happen. You're a fucking lying asshole, dude. You're a fucking liar, bro. Yes, it does. Dude, literally in the state of California, you can now kill a kid up to 2 years old in that fucking state, and they're not even going to look into it. There is legislation that Gavin Newsom signed into place at the state level there in California where you can have a child die within the first years of their fucking life, and it's never even investigated because they're now calling it SIDS, is what it is, dude. Or like an extended version of SIDS is what it is there. Which, by the way, the whole sudden infant death syndrome thing only exists in like the first 6 months of fucking child's life, dude. And most of the time it's like negligence or something like that. Or it was because the kid had a health condition or something like that's what it was, which in some cases it could just be, people killing the fucking kid after the fact from my mother being all postpartum and shit like that. But yet she will sit there and be like, oh no, the baby just died on their own. And she'll be able to do it in such a convincing way that it's like, oh my God, I found the kid with the blanket on their ass or something like that's what it was, dude. And they had rolled over and their mouth was on the fucking blanket or something for 5 minutes or whatever then. Meanwhile, they could have easily just like flipped the kid over on the fucking blanket and let it suffocate to death as it is then. But yeah, there's been, and that's the thing, right? The whole like late term abortion stuff, dude. There are chicks out there that Andy knows specifically has covered who are part of Antifa who admit that they will go out there and get 5, 6, 7, 8 month long fucking abortions, dude, because they don't want the fucking kid anymore is what it is. There are so many stories out there, by the way, of different men getting fucked over. Like hell, I remember there was one actually I remember specifically. It was during all the rioting stuff of 2020. It was some dude from Texas who was out there guarding. I don't know if it was in Texas or someplace else or whatever, but it was one of like the many streams that was going on at the time or whatever. And he was telling this story to, I forget who it was at the time. It might have just been some random YouTuber guy or whatever the case be that was out there filming and stuff. But he was explaining how he had a girlfriend at one point, and he had told this woman who was dating him for like long term and stuff like that. I think they were engaged to get married, is what it was there. And she was already like 4 or 5 months along with their child, is what it was. And he's been telling her for like, last year or so of his life at that point. He's like, yeah, I'm going to go to my friend's wedding. Here's what it is. Like, and really it should have been like they were both should have gone to the wedding is what it was. But I think the reasoning was that she had to stay behind because of, risk to the kid with flying and stuff or something like that is what it was. And she would have miscarried because of flying and stuff like that is what it was or something. And so he's like, yeah, I'm going to go to this wedding or whatever the case be because I think he was the guy's best man or like I forget if he was the best man or one of the groomsmen, one of the two is what it was. But either way, he was in the party for sure. The actual bridal party, I guess is what you call it there. And so he's like, yeah, I'm going to go. And she's like, no, don't go. Like, and he's like, no, I got to go. Like, you don't understand. Like, this is my best friend for, decades of my life and stuff like that. I'm going to go because I'm like, his groomsman or whatever the case be there is what it is. And she's like, well, fine then, fuck you, go. And then, okay, so he leaves to go to the party is what it is. And she proceeds to call him up on the phone like a day or two later. And she's like, just want to let you know, buddy, I'm at the abortion clinic now. Fuck your kid. And she fucking killed this kid in the womb, dude. Like, that's the kind of callous shit we're talking about, bro. That, oh, you have a fucking spatter or something, so you're willing to kill the man's fucking child that's in your womb right now? Like, what the fuck is that? There's a reason why you have state houses across this country right now who are actively putting fathers' rights amendments into place right now in state constitutions. Because they understand that, yes, dudes deserve to have rights. If a bitch is going to fucking kill their kid unjustly like that, they need to be able to sue the fuck out of her ass for killing their child, what it is, man. And that's the thing. This is the whole problem entirely with our country right now, dude. We have strayed so fucking far from God in this nation right now, dude. To where now you have this Satanist fucking movement rising up currently. And like I've said many, many times on this channel and other channels that I have on this site right now, we are in a fucking fight of good and evil right now, dude. Democrat Party people are fucking pure evil at this point. When you are talking about permanently ending human life and then lying about the shit doesn't happen, like, what the fuck are you smoking, dude? Like, get the fucking crack pipe out of your goddamn mouth, Landon, seriously. Like, this is what I've said before, dude. Like, people like Landon Meador need to be disqualified in the fucking spot for this kind of shit, dude. This guy shouldn't even be in the fucking race for the state house right now. Because the pro-abortion shit should have been disqualified in the fucking spot is what it is, man. So, yeah, it's a bunch of crap, dude. The guy's a fucking pre-oath breaker. If he somehow managed to flip that seat to Democrat, he would be breaking his oath on the spot is what it is, dude. Because he would be legitimately taking an oath and showing that he's a fucking sack of shit, basically. Wow. And then apparently that same day he was talking about like the abortion shit or whatever the case be. He had this fucking tweet on his X page there. It says, if I can pull up right now. So can I count on you for a $20 to help us defeat extremist Jennifer Gross this November? Like, what a fucking joke, dude. Wow. This guy really is a smug son of a bitch, man. Like, you want to talk like that's the thing, right? Like, I've talked about narcissism before in politics, dude. Like, this Landon guy, like that right there shows like that pure narcissism, bro. That you think you even stand a chance to fucking beat this woman straight up in November when you are in a district right now that's like heavily leaning red is what it is there, dude. So yeah, and then I love how he says this shit the day before that, by the way, after like the obviously the 8th, he was talking about abortion crap, whatever the case be. And then the day before that, he's saying how, by the way, this alone, pretty sure actually disqualifies you from the running because you're talking about stuff you would do as a state rep before you even have the office, bro. Like I said, when in Columbus, I will focus on restoring integrity to our political system, keeping dark donor dollars from infiltrating our state, ensuring all Ohioans have access to healthcare and a quality education, and then claimed Jennifer Gross's opponent was focusing on removing judicial oversight, working against the United States Constitution. There's only one candidate on the Ohio First. Don't be fooled. Yeah, it's sure shit at you, buddy. Fucking clown, dude. Okay, so this is what I'm saying though with this Landon guy. This is what's weird, right? Like he'll focus on abortion like crazy like that, like the pure Democrat, like libertarian thing. But then he'll actually talk about stuff like this, like being like pro border security and stuff like that. So yeah, it's just weird, man. So like I said, I really think this guy actually is like a legit like libertarian candidate, but he can't run as libertarian, so he runs as Democrat. That's what it is. Because it's the closest thing as political party is what it is for abortion shit is what it is then, dude. Because that's the thing. If you really wanted to get somebody out of office, dude, you primary them out. You know, you actually as a Republican, you get on the ballot as a Republican, you primary that person in the Republican primary. There's what it is. You know, a month or so ago is what it was there, and then you move along. Instead, you're just trying to flip the fucking seat to a Democrat party. Is what it is, dude. Fuck all that shit. Wow. But then you got Landon, and also you got Landon saying shit like this, which basically could go to the abortion thing as well, for that matter. Said, I support your individual ability to judge what is best for your life and your family. The government should play no role in dictating what you do with your life. I will keep government out of your bedroom and doctor's offices, just like I have always fought for. So, first off, buddy, again, you're talking about what's best for your life and family. How are you going to talk about that? Like, dude, oh my God. Like, seriously, man. Like, it's just mind-numbingly retarded at that point. Like, how are you honestly gonna fucking spew that nonsense, dude? When you know full fucking well what you're supporting is the end of human life and the end of a fucking nuclear family in this country. Like, fuck you, dude. Seriously. Like, this is what I'm saying, man. I seriously would like to fucking fight this guy right now, honestly, man. Like, I'm not that good health wise, but I know I can get in like one or two good shots, bro. Like, I'm not even getting around right now, man. So then, of course, you got in the 50s basically jerking himself off for the race is what it is there, because he's saying Ohioans have the opportunity this November to replace Jennifer Gross with someone who supports their individual rights and enshrined freedoms and economic prosperity. So you obviously don't do any of that, bro, because if you did, you would understand that, like, hey, buddy, the enshrinement of unconstitutional bullshit, like abortion, is not a fucking freedom, dude. You obviously don't support individual rights for that matter. Jennifer Gross does because she actually voted for constitutional carry and stand your ground both, actually, on that one. So, and of course, you got this McCall guy for a state rep here in District 46 who said, what in this Landon reposting this, I'm assuming this McCall guy's also another fellow Democrat, probably a buddy of his, is my assumption, honestly. Claims what people need is context, not division. More needs to be done at state level to address the challenges we face of property taxes, housing supply, and price gouging. Okay, so first off, you fucking Democrats voted for that shit, buddy. McCall. You voted for it when you helped cheater ass Biden fucking cheat his way in the goddamn presidency. You voted for it when you helped fucking Sherrod Brown cheat his way in 2018 back to the U.S. Senate. You helped when you got fucking Amelia Sykes cheating ass into the fucking Congress, etc., etc. I can keep going, honestly. You know, there's many other Democrats out there that have cheated their way into fucking office many, many times, dude. So it's not really price gouging, dude. It's your fucking dumbass Bidenomics inflation crap is what it is, bro. And it's not housing supply, dude. It's you fucking allowing illegals coming through an open border system right now that are taking up all the fucking housing, you jackasses. And then you wonder why Americans are getting fucked out of our property and stuff. Hell, if anything, you wonder why we're getting fucked out of our property when you're allowing companies like BlackRock that have direct ties to fucking China to buy up our fucking farmland and shit and buy up our fucking housing and shit and then create entire places that are just desolate areas so they can enact their fucking 15-minute city Agenda 2030 bullshit. Is what it is, dude. Which is all truth, by the way, at this point. You know, there's a reason why Alex Jones is now suing the fucking feds for targeting his ass. Is what it is there, dude. So, yeah, it's just a fucking joke, man, is what it is, honestly. What I think is very interesting in this whole situation is you had Landon basically doing the that survey thing, and he was straight up lying about shit here. Like, for instance, when he was telling people about like who he was, here's what it is in the Ballotpedia thing. This is what he says. This is the whole deal right now. It said, name is Landon Meador. I was born and raised right here in Westchester, Ohio. Have spent many years of my life focused on mental health advocacy and innovative economic groups. True passion is through helping people. For too long, Ohioans have received the short end of the stick, and it is showing in our current state representative. So I'm determined to fight for those who have been left behind and advance our state to the next level. By the way, when he talks about those who have been left behind, you know what he's really talking about, right? And I can tell you that right now, honestly. He's talking about the trans shit, dude. He's talking about all the fucking, you know, transitioning minors and shit like that. It's just, again, you have to read between the fucking lines of this, dude, because they're not going to straight up say that shit because, again, it would prove that they're a goddamn psychotic lunatic that shouldn't be in office at that point. So you actually have to, like, read between the fucking lines of what they're saying to actually determine what is actually being said there in a, you know, different set of words, basically. Because that's true at the end of the day. It's because, you know, they always talk about like these minority groups and stuff like that being like so oppressed and everything else like that. And given the fact that he's been in mental health and stuff like that, it's like, yeah, dude, like you're the prime example of unjustified, like unstable mental health there, buddy. You know, like seriously, if you want to talk about mental health advocacy there, Landon, let's talk about how many Democrat voters right now should be in a fucking insane asylum right now. For real. Because they're all fucked in the head, man. Seriously, if you're going to sit there and think it's okay to do mass genocide of the unborn at this point of unborn children, you're probably not right in the head. You probably shouldn't have voting rights in this country, honestly, ever. So, yeah, there is that. But yeah, then he talks about doing accountability, transparency, and grit. It's like, well, first off, dude, you're not having accountability or transparency because you're a fucking idiot, is what it is. So, but then he says stuff like that about like focusing on local economies and whatnot. Like, and that's what I think. I believe truthfully, like I said, I think this guy more is the libertarian party platform type of guy because, again, libertarian party platform includes abortion stuff, but then it would also include like economic shit as well, for that matter. So, yeah, it makes a lot of sense, honestly, on that one, dude. Yeah, I love how he says this one. Both parties have struggled with personality politics over the last few years at a national level. So first off, it's not struggling with personality politics, dude. It's literally Democrats playing identity politics, dude. And this is the real problem with Republicans in this country, honestly, as a nutshell, party, dude. It's you have so many of them instead of like that's the one thing I will say about Democrats, dude. At least with Democrats, if they tell you they're gonna fucking steal your rights and fuck with your constitutional, God-given inalienable rights and stuff like that, dude, they're gonna do it. You know, if they get power, they're gonna fucking ram shit through as much as possible. Republicans, for the most part, especially at a federal level and stuff, and even state level sometimes is what it is, they will sit there and pussyfoot around and fucking have no backbone, no spine, whatever the case be at all, dude. And they'll sit there and be like, "Oh no, I'm totally fighting for your rights as long as I'm getting paid, basically." And even then, like even like right now in Ohio, dude, you have us having Second Amendment Preservation Act right now, sitting in committee for over a year at this point. You know, 2 years ago was the same shit with constitutional carry, man. Shane Wilkin held it for over a year. A couple years before that, it was stand your ground. You know, they it's like and I've talked about this many times on these chats and stuff like that, man. It's one Pro 2A bill a year they'll basically give us what it is. Yet meanwhile, you have them literally in the last 7-8 days now allowing like 7 or 8 anti-gun bills to go through various committees is what it is for first readings, for first hearings, etc. There, it's like, no, dude, fuck all that. Like, they shouldn't even be going to anything at that point. It should be like, no, sorry, unconstitutional. Go fuck yourself. Everybody's attached to this. You're out of fucking office now, bitches. That's how it should work, by the way. If we had auto DQs in this country right now, dude, it's like, yeah, the second you put your name to unconstitutional shit, dude, that's directly violating the actual U.S. Constitution. You took the swear uphold the Second Amendment, dude. You're done. You're gone. You're gone fucking office. You're not replaced by your fucking party. You are gone. There's a special election to replace your ass at that point. Or if there's too many reps in the state house already, is what it is. Guess what? 11 seats are just gone. That's what it is, bro. End of fucking story. And we go down to one county, one rep legislation. Is what it is then. So. Oh, and then Landon, of course, on the 28th of last month is claiming to be Christian and stuff like that. It's like, sure, yeah, buddy. Or either Joe Biden kind of Christian that's just a fucking scumbag is what it is, man. So. And of course, he's all like, "Oh, I'm so sad that my buddy Bridget Kelly died after forcing the Judy jabs on everybody's what it is there, man." So, yeah. Oh my fucking god. Oh my god, bro. This right here, this tweet from Landon tells me everything I need to know about his fucking ass, dude, and how much of a piece of shit he actually is. Bridget Kelly was one of the smartest, hard-working individuals who always was focused on good. This is horrible news and breaks my heart. No, she wasn't, dude. She was a fucking idiot. She was the biggest fucking scumbag when it came to trying to restrict rights in the state, both human life rights and gun rights. She was an oath-breaking cunt, man, who wanted to sit there and fucking force people to take a fucking thing, you know, little poppity pop in the fucking arm there is what it is. And was all fucking pro that shit, was all trying to force masking on everybody back in 2020 with her idiot buddy Mike Skindell, who's now outed himself as a fucking pedophile, by the way, at this point. And then you have these fucking retards being all like, "Oh, she was such a smart." No, she wasn't, dude. If she was smart, she would have been stupid enough to actually take some shit with this dude. That then eventually would have, led to some stuff that eventually cost some other stuff. What it is, we can't really talk about because of YouTube policies. What it is there. Because by the way, for those interested, she died of esophageal cancer after a 2-year battle with it, dude. Which conveniently was after she took some stuff, what it was. And we'll leave it at that, basically. So, anyway. Did this guy hit me back? I think maybe somebody did. Anyway, let me see if it wasn't dumbass. Yeah, this guy's just a fucking moron. That's what it is, dude. Okay, so then there's this one, right? Okay. So like I said, with this Landon guy, like he goes like default Democrat pretty hard, but then he'll say like stuff like this, like back on March 20th, where he's talking about Barron Trump and Trump and Barron turning 18 years old is what it was there. Where it said, see a lot of stuff tonight about Barron Trump turning 18. He's fair game. Said no, he's absolutely not attacking a candidate's family is never right. They're not running for office. Okay, but at the same time though, right? Like you say that and stuff, but in reality, like you are literally attacking human life, buddy. So what the fuck? Like it just again, it boggles my mind at that point, dude. Like, do you not see the fucking hypocrisy there, bud? Right? Like, my God, man. My God, man. And again, like this is the problem again. It goes back to what NEA was saying here on Monday night is what it was, man. Where you have people who will like you have all these people coming together and stuff like that, like left, right, center, all that stuff like that's what it is, dude. And they can agree on 85 to 90% of shit, really, is what it is. Like, I know some people will say 95% of stuff. I say it's more like 85 to 90% personally. Because there's definitely like 10 to 15% on, so they won't agree upon is what it is. And that's the thing. Like, you can agree on like 85%, give or take, of different stuff across the board. Like, yeah, this thing should be a thing, this thing should be a thing, that should be a thing, etc. But then you get into like actual like nitty gritty stuff where it's like, okay, you know, what is your stance on Second Amendment issues? Like, that's a big fucking determiner of people at that point, dude. Or it's, you know, what's your stance on human life, basically? And they'll sit there and be like, by the way, what's funny to me too, by the way, on that one is, so you'll have the same people on the left at this point, dude, like left and kind of like centristy people in some cases is what it is. That claim to be like Libertarian Party people or whatever the case be there is what it is. Who will sit there and talk about like, you know, they'll call it reproductive freedom and stuff like that instead of abortion / baby murder is what it actually is. And yet, meanwhile, they will at the same time be okay with that, being okay with kill kids in the womb and stuff like that. Yet a guy who is a mass murdering piece of shit who killed a bunch of people in a mass shooting or something like that, they'll just be like, oh no, that person shouldn't be given the death penalty. Just leave him in prison for life. Or it's like some dude that was like a hitman or something like that, who's been on death row for like 30 years. They're like, well, he's already been on death row for 30 years. Why kill him now? It's like, he should have been killed 30 fucking years ago when he killed people. Like, that's the real problem with that one, dude. Is a lot of these assholes that sit on death row for 30 fucking years have a bunch of fucking appeals and stuff like that. So they're being like, no, we found you guilty. We have provable evidence you're fucking guilty of this thing. You're gone, buddy. Fuck off to hell where you belong. Like, that's the entire point, man. It's like all these idiot leftists that were talking about that guy that was killed in Alabama here recently with that like new version of like the gas chamber, whatever it is there. And they're just like, oh, it's such cruel and unusual punishment. It's like, dude, we at one point in history were blood eagling motherfuckers, dude. You would literally cut this fucking person's back open, rip the fucking shit apart, and yank their fucking insides outside. To look like a fucking like eagle wing, basically, where it was their like it was the bones in their like arms and stuff like that's what it was there. And like their chest cavity and shit would be like literally rip the fuck out. Hell, you used to have a thing called the brazen bull back in the day, where you would put a motherfucker in this thing and it would heat it up with a bunch of fucking fire, and it would be them screaming inside of it because they're being burned alive. Hell, go back to the Salem witch trials for God's sakes, dude. You used to burn people at the fucking stake for God's sakes. You know? Now, granted, that went a little bit too far in that case, because there was obviously a few people there that were definitely, you know, unjustly accused of being witches when they weren't. Now, granted, that being said, you know, you got pieces of shit like Rihanna now coming out the other day and doing some blasphemous shit in a fucking nun costume. That she actually, like, people were saying something about her just like defiling like Christianity or whatever on that one, but she honestly like she was like a vampire nun. It was weird. Like, it looked really fucking weird, honestly. But yeah, it's just blasphemous and stuff. And the people were saying like her doing that shit, or whatever the case being, it was like, yeah, she'd never do that against Islam and stuff, and she wouldn't, dude, because if she did, she knows what will fucking happen at that point, bro. Which is exactly what happened here today in Pennsylvania a little bit ago, which was quite literally you had a fucking Ramadan event, and there was a bunch of fucking shootings going on out there, you know. Which, since we're in Oathbreakers, but we're still going to talk about this is what it is for a sec here, because I didn't want to talk about this because it's actually breaking news what it is today. Yeah, it was mass shooting in Philadelphia at Ramadan event. Hundreds were in attendance. Several arrests have been made. It says mass shooting is being reported in West Philadelphia, reportedly at or near Clara Mohammed Square at an Eid al-Fitr event celebrating the final day of Ramadan, a holy month of fasting celebrated by Muslims around the world. It's the cause of the shooting or the names of the suspects have not been released. But that's the thing, right? Like, there's a reason why they call it Ramadan Palmathon, dude. Again, like, the Crusades never ended in the 12th/13th century, bro. I've talked about this many times on this channel on many different videos and stuff. You had the guys that were from England that were part of the Crusades riding up on fucking horseback, looking across the battlefield, seeing like, 1,000 to 1 outnumbering from fucking Islam on the other side of the fucking battlefield, and then they simply flipped the horse around and were like, "Okay, buddy, let's go back home now." Yeah, they could never beat them back then, is what it was, dude, because they're already outnumbered at that point in time in history. So that's why you look at every single thing right now, every single terrorist attack by Islam at this point in current country history is what it is, man. It's all fucking Crusades. It's all modern day Crusade stuff is what it is. Even by their own admission in many cases, it's fucking modern day Crusade stuff for that matter, dude. It's like there was one the other day I heard about. It was a guy in, I think it was England or something like that, who had a 23-year-old girlfriend. She was like 7-8 months pregnant at that point, dude. And he fucking honor kills her is what it is, because his mom didn't like the chick. And it's like, Jesus fucking Christ, man. It's not an honor killing, it's fucking murder. You're murder. By the way, it was double murder because you're murdering 2 people at that point. It's just like going back to Landon's whole thing right here about him talking about like, oh, the late term abortion shit, dude. There's a reason, buddy, why when you have a pregnant woman being killed by somebody in a murder, why that person is tried with 2 murders, because they're murdering the mother and the fucking child. And yes, late term abortion does happen, dude. You can look at that one fucker in Pennsylvania from some years ago who was known as a late term abortionist. The guy literally had fucking 5, 6, 7-month children that he ripped out of chicks' wombs and were tossing into fucking garbage cans, bro. You actually had at least one of his nurses at the time find at least one of these kids alive, and thank God she saved that child. It's fucking insane, man. Like, I just don't understand how anybody could be pro-abortion at this point. I don't care what you want to call it. If you want to call it reproductive freedom, whatever the fucking case be, dude, it's all lies, by the way, at that point, because it's all baby murder at the end of the day. It's all mass genocide of an entire generation of children at this point, dude. It's literally crimes against humanity is what it really is, honestly. But yeah, if you want to play that fucking game, dude, then guess what? You shouldn't be allowed to run for office with this. You shouldn't be allowed to ever hold any position of power in this country ever again. After that. You probably shouldn't even have voting rights at that point, honestly. Like, that's how fucking far we're down this rabbit hole right now, dude. It's just insanity upon insanity is what it is, dude. And it just blows me away, honestly. Like, just how truly psychotic some of these fucking people are, man. Because they are fucking nuts. Like, that's what I've said before, dude. Like, you have these folks that, we can agree upon some stuff, right? We can agree upon that 70, 80%, whatever it is there. 85% maybe at most. But then there's that 15% that are like clear things that are obvious violations of both the U.S. Constitution and state constitutions that you're acting as if it fucking should exist at that point. It's like, no, dude, you're just an oath-breaking sack of shit, bro. You're just a pre-oath breaker is what it is right now, because again, you haven't actually sworn oath to uphold the Constitution yet, as far as I'm aware. But if you would actually get into office, you would be sitting there, putting your hand to a fucking constitution, putting your hand to a state constitution, and being like, I swear an oath to uphold these things, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, yeah, and you're directly violating that oath because you're supporting the mass genocide of children And who knows what else? Could be anti-gun shit too, for that matter. You know? Like, let's go ahead and say Landon was in the state house at that point, dude, as a Democrat or whatever the case be. Would he be the sole Democrat that votes against gun control? Would it be, you have, like, let's go ahead and say it right now. There's like 30, like, I forget exactly what the actual numbers. It's like 33, 34, something like that, Democrats in our state right now. Let's go ahead and say it was 30 Democrats, though. Just an even round number there. So you got 30 Democrats. Those 30 Democrats included that Landon guy, right? Is it going to be 29 Democrats with gun control and his ass is on the pro 2A stuff is what it is then? Like, fuck, man. But then meanwhile, it's like all this pro-abortion shit. And yeah, he's going to jump on that, guarantee, is what it is, dude. Like, that's the problem with the Democrat Party, dude. It's a bunch of fucking scumbags is what it is. And like I said, with this Landon guy, who I'm pretty sure is a default libertarian candidate, is what it is actually, that can't run as libertarian is what it is, so he's running Democrat instead. It's him basically towing the Libertarian Party platform, which is, you know, supposedly pro-freedom, but that's also pro-abortion, which again, sort of contradicts each other, doesn't it, though? Because you're sitting there talking about pro-freedom, life, liberty, all stuff like that, but yet you're killing kids in the womb. That's obviously against human life, is what it is, dude. So, you know, like, what the hell, man? But anyway, it really does it just boggles your mind, dude. It really does. So, just trying to see what this kid was saying about their stuff here. Yeah. So, okay. So here's one thing he points out, though, right, in his little ballotpedia thing here. I'm gonna read this whole thing actually because it basically talks about drug stuff is what it is here. So you had Landon saying, "I believe that mental health and substance abuse are tied together and pose the largest threat to Ohioans' well-being." That's a different story altogether, dude, because it's actually open borders and stuff like that. Do that whole thing. He said, "Since 2021, Ohioans have died at a historic rate, numbers that have never been seen in the state." Yeah, and why is that, Landon? Maybe it's because you have borders that bring in a bunch of fucking drugs from overseas and shit, or through Mexico by the cartels and shit. You know, there's a reason why Ohioans are dying of drug overdoses, dude. It doesn't have anything to do with the fact that we have, you know, whatever here. It's the fact that you have fucking shit being brought in from both China and through the Mexican fucking border system right now by cartels overseas and shit. What it is, dude. And in our, like, different Central American nations as well, for that matter, dude. You know, you got the Chinese cartels, you got the Mexican cartels. What it is, man. So, not too much human trafficking and stuff like that, for that matter. Let's just all together. So, and then he continues on. So we have hit record highs every year of our suicide rate is one of the worst in the country. And why is that, dude? I don't know. Maybe it's because we don't have fucking jobs here. Maybe it's because you had a bunch of assholes like George W. Bush and Dick Cheney and Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer and all these other motherfucking lifetime candidates and stuff like that there, dude, who literally sent our manufacturing jobs overseas. Oh, yeah, by the way, Sherrod Brown was in office during that time and voted to do that shit, dude. I want to point that one out. So is a lot of these other fucking scumbags like Marcy Kaptur, who's also fucking Democrat for 40 plus years now. You know, literally voted to send our shit overseas when it was, dude. You know, take Ohio manufacturing and send to fucking China, dude. Like, there's a reason why people think there's nothing left anymore, dude. You know, it's like me right now. I'm living in a place right now that's going to have to be sold out from under me because my mother died 3 months ago. Her entire mortgage should have been written off upon her death is what it is, dude. I should own this place outright right now. But I don't. Instead, I'm going to get a third of whatever the fuck we sell it for, minus the money we have to pay back to the fucking loan and shit like that for the mortgage and shit, dude, is what it is. It's a bunch of shit entirely, dude. It's stealing of generational wealth is what it is right now. By scumbag corporate greed is what it is, man. But yeah, this is the biggest problem with the country right now, dude. It's these people that don't understand the whole thing, man. Like, it's the whole uh, causation and correlation thing. You know, like, yes, some of these things correlate together, but other stuff is a cause of that. Specifically, when you have open border systems that allow drugs to flow to our country like fucking crazy, that's your causation. The correlation is overdoses. You know, causation, sending jobs overseas that were good fucking manufacturing jobs that you could have actually risen a family on. Now you have a bunch of dudes, 30s, 40s, 50s, etc., got nothing left, and you wonder why they opt out. You know, again, causation, correlation. Not to mention the fact you got other stuff not we don't really talk about because it goes into big pharma shit what does there. So, and that's actually the real reason why a bunch of Ohioans are dying, man. So, anyway. But yeah, it's a bunch of stupid bullshit with this dude. Let's see. I'm trying to see if anything else is said by this guy and this makes any sense here. Okay, then he's basically going with this whole leftist mantra of like substance abuse and stuff like that. That's the whole thing there. So he's basically trying to blame like mental health / substance abuse for like a lot of the problems. Here's what it is, and it's like, yes, they are, dude, but again, it's not the actual causes of the fucking shit. It's the correlation to the causation. That's what you're not pointing out right there. What it is. And again, like, you know, when you look at for God's sakes, look at forever chemicals in our fucking food supply, water supply, etc. There, dude. Look at our fucking how many psych drugs are in our fucking water supply at any given time in this country, dude. That are being flushed down the toilet in major cities and then simply being run through a fucking, uh, you know, plant thing to make it drinkable water again. You wonder why people drinking a fucking glass of drugs that they call water. You wonder why they're like all fucked in the head then after that. It's like, of course, dude. Of course they're gonna be fucked in the head after that when you're drinking a fucking drug cocktail in a fucking glass of water that could have anything from like Xanax to Percocet to Vicodin to fucking Viagra to birth control pills to fucking, you know, whatever else in there if that be the case. Not to mention hard drugs, cocaine, heroin, meth, fentanyl, you know, Oxycontin remnants, etc. And then when you add, you know, the pipes that are all fucked up and have like a bunch of lead in them and stuff like that, then you got a bunch of lead on top of everything else. That's what it is. That is known to dumb you down, is what it is, bro. It's like that guy I was talking about the other day. There was a dude that was on X last night who was discussing Lunchables and stuff. And he was saying how I guess they were doing studies on the little Lunchables these kids eat, like those little teeny ones like that or whatever. And it's like 70+% of the fucking daily lead you need in your system is what it is there, man. Which, by the way, you don't really need lead in your system at all for that matter. But anyway, yeah, it gives you like your daily thing in like one of those, dude. And then, of course, there's no actual federal thing on how much lead you can have in your system is what it is there, dude. So, yeah, you're getting lead poisoning for real, man. You know, you're getting the old lead salad is what it is. Fight Club references, don't know about that one. Great movie, by the way. One of the best movies out there in the 90s. But no, seriously, it's like, you might as well be eating a lead salad for that point, dude. So, but anyway, yeah, it's just fucking insane, dude. And like I said, Landon's a pre-oath breaker. Hopefully, he never gets into office here in the state. We'll find out in about 6 months or so, give or take. Because it'll be, I think it's the first week of November, if I'm not mistaken. So it'd be just over 6 months. Then it'd be about 6 months and a couple, like a week or two then. So anyway, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see, man. I know Jennifer Gross has done good stuff for us in the state house right now. She's actually an advocate for medical freedom, is what it is here. And yeah, maybe she made a mistake with voting for household or whatever the case. But here's the thing, right? At least people like that are willing to admit their faults, right? Meanwhile, you got pieces of shit like Casey Weinstein, Democrat, who refuses to even admit that he helped get Larry Householder into the fucking speaker's office years ago. He'll straight up lie to your face and be like, I never voted for this guy, even though there was literal fucking evidence of him voting for the guy on record. It's like, we're not stupid, Casey. You might be, motherfucker. You might be able to gaslight some of your dumbass constituency is what it is there. Vote for your fucking retarded ass into office. But yeah, those of us out here who actually take the time and do our due diligence, do our research and stuff like that, we can call your fucking ass out on that shit, motherfucker. Being another oath-breaking sack of shit. You know? And I'm not surprised at least this Landon guy's running for running the Democrat Party, dude. It fits his fucking moniker to a T in many cases. You know, pro-abortion, fucking anti-freedom stuff. You had little sit there and gaslight a lot of people about like, oh, freedom and pro-America and pro-Ohio and stuff. Like, no, you're not, dude. You're not MAGA. You're not fucking Ohio first, not America first. You're just some fucking dipshit trying to use that stuff to get in office and lie to people. And then when you get in office, you're going to be fucking just as corrupt as the rest of them is what it'll be, buddy. So, in fact, it kind of makes me wonder who's actually funding Landon Meador's candidacy at this point. Could it be Bloomberg? Could it be Soros? Could it be, I don't know, Moms and Man Action? Could it be Planned Parenthood? Who knows? Who knows? In fact, let's go ahead and see if we can find anything about this guy right now for his financials and stuff. Oh, of course, you can actually look this jackass up for the LandonForOhio.com Gen Z candidate. Go fuck yourself, dude. Seriously. So, yeah, 23 years old is what this jackass is. Come back to me when you got some fucking hair on your nuts, dude, and you actually have a full frontal lobe development at 25. Tell them to go fuck yourself, dude. Seriously, this guy was born in 2001, man. Who's to see if he was born before or after 9/11 happened, man? Like, you probably didn't even see 9/11 for that matter, dude. If he did, it was like a fucking, like, probably a few months old at the time. Yeah, it's like such a fucking joke, dude. It really is, honestly. Yeah, and then he says here, 22, in his profile there, said 22-year-old college student. Jesus. Product of public education. That speaks a lot, by the way. that makes so much more sense now when you admit that shit. Yeah. Like, what a joker, man. What a fucking joker. Okay, I gotta look up this guy's fucking thing now. Is what it is, dude. We gotta check this shit out right now for his fucking his website about the different stuff. Here's what it is, because we already know some of the stuff he was talking about with being you know, the whole pro-abortion shit is what it is there. Because he's got different things on the site here. It's got Ohio First Plan, individual rights, accountable, accessible accountable education, reviving and protecting Ohio's working class, and the mental health is what his 5 platforms are there. So nothing about Second Amendment, by the way, which is kind of telling, honestly, on that one as well. So yeah, let's go ahead and look up the issues here. What it is. So we've got individual rights. Said strongly believe in individual rights. 2023 was successful. Oh, there you go. In 2023, we successfully enshrined reproductive rights into our state, and that was a big win for those who believe in individual rights being protected. Except it's not, dude. It's not reproductive rights, by the way, when you're killing kids in the womb, you fucking dipshit. And so I'm against government overreach across the board. Do not believe government should be involved in people's bedroom or doctor's offices. Strong proponent of parental rights, and that families should be able to make the best decisions for themselves. Okay, he says parental rights, right? But again, is he talking about parental rights for people that, you know, want to claim their kids are trans and are trying to transition minors and stuff like that, dude? I wouldn't be surprised by it. Like Designers says, an effort to bring government back to the people, to believe that our institution should cherry pick Do not believe our institution should be cherry picking what families can do. So when I get to Columbus, which by the way, just qualified himself on the spot right there on that one alone, because he's talking about doing stuff when he's in the office, when he doesn't have the office held right now. So we'll continue to advocate for everyone's rights, just like I always have. So we must continue to work towards a future where families and individuals are in control, and that they are the ones making decisions for themselves. There is no one better for the individual or the family to make decisions, and the continued attacks on individual rights attempt to broaden government and insert into every corner of our life is just wrong. Not only is the invasion of privacy, but it's against the very nature of government. Believe government is there to provide services, solve problems, and work to enshrine the lives of people. Do not believe government should uh, be banishing people from state, refusing healthcare access to those in need, and revoking common sense in our institutions. Okay, so he says common sense, right? That's a nice little terminology for gun stuff, by the way, that Democrats love to use. Talk about common sense gun control. So you believe in that shit then, buddy? Again, like everything that was said in this whole thing seriously makes me believe that this kid legitimately is 100% fucking. I 100% believe this kid is libertarian, dude. Like he's a libertarian party platform is what it is right now as a Democrat. Because it makes so much sense. Like he definitely does believe for sure, like some stuff that would fall into like constitutional rights and stuff like that, dude. But he also believes like stupid bullshit like abortion crap is what it is. So I love how he says this. A few years ago, Ohio ranked as highest education systems in the nation. Today we rank at the bottom half of the education. And this is in 1990s. Jesus. Like that's a long that's like 30 fucking years ago, buddy. Like what the fuck, man? By the way, that's before you were even born, dude. Like that was before you were even a fucking gleam in your daddy's eye. Like Jesus Christ, buddy. Oh my god. Like what a fucking clown, man. What an absolute fucking clown. This is the problem with Gen Z. I mean, I was talking about this somewhat last night in the stream I did that I ended up privating then because of just stuff, and I'm gonna read you some stuff on that's what it is then. But yeah, this is the problem right now. Is there was a woman that was talking about this the other day, talking about our founding fathers and the ages of our founding fathers, which by the way, some of them were roughly Landon's age here. The difference was though, is that they were actually grown ass men back then and they fought in a fucking war for their freedom, dude. Not some little punk ass Gen Z fuckstick who wants to talk about abortion rights being fucking freedom and shit like that. Who wants to talk about permanently ending human life being fucking reproductive freedoms. It's like it's fucking goddamn wordplay, is what it is. It's just like Democrats changing the fucking definition of red flag laws, dude. Like first it was ERPO shit, then it was something else, and then eventually now it's fucking they're doing someone in it was either Kentucky or Tennessee where they're calling it like CAR. It's like CAR, which is like some bullshit to like again to restrict people's rights and stuff like that and access to firearms. What it is there. So it's a bunch of shit all the way around, dude. Like the last thing Ohio needs is some 23-year-old Gen Z fuckstick in office. Like this guy's basically like a lesser version, I should say a less oath breaking version of that Tim Hernandez guy in Colorado there. But yeah, it's just a bunch of stupid bullshit is what it is, dude. So I'm gonna see tacticals out in the comment section right now. I'm gonna go ahead and drop a link to you in the Discord if you want to jump in on here for a minute. sounding board with this one whole thing right now. So we'll talk more about this Landon guy then. At least a couple minutes anyway, and then I'm going to go after that. Then is what it'll be. So. Phone cord's cut around my cord from my headphones there.
What up, homie?
Oh, just talking about one of the pre-oath breakers trying to get in the hot state house right now, a guy named Landon Meador, who is cool with killing kids in the womb and calling it reproductive rights.
Oh, well, that sounds like a lot of fun. So let me guess, they're definitely not swinging towards the normality route.
Well, okay, so everything I looked into this guy so far in the last hour or so, it seems like he's because obviously we had the two-party primary system put in place by Casey during his administration. There's what it was, and so you can't have like libertarians on the ballot or whatever now in the primary system and stuff like that. And that's what it seems like this Landon guy might be, because he definitely has like pro-freedom stuff, like like individual freedom stuff is what it is there. But then it's also like pro-abortion shit for that matter as well. On top of
that. Oh, interesting. Well, I guess so pretty much he's just pro. Everybody does whatever they want kind of guy.
It seems like he's very much like Libertarian Party platform, honestly.
Okay, well, that's not terrible, I guess, but I mean, obviously some viewpoints I don't agree with. But...
Yeah. Well, then he's also one of these guys that wants to claim to be a Christian and stuff like that. And it's like, yeah, pretty sure if you're going to be like an actual, straight up Christian and stuff like that, the last thing you're going to do is talk about killing kids and stuff like that. Is what it is. Is cool. Is being cool with that then.
Right. Yeah, that's kind of.
So it's like he's kind of, and it makes sense why he's like, like he almost seems like very much party line Democrats what it is right now. But it's not surprising. I mean, the kid's 23 years old, for God's sakes. He admits to being like Gen Z and shit like that. It's like, oh, we need Gen Z in office now. It's like, no, we need older millennials like myself in office. We need here, honestly, who actually give a shit about fucking human life and gun rights and everything else like that. Is what it is. So.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. How you been, man?
Tired. Body's hurting and stuff. My fucking chiropractor, it turns out, is not going to be in office till the end of the month now. Because she went on vacation for the next 2 weeks is what it is. So, yeah.
I go to the chiropractor pretty regularly. It helps. It's not like the best thing, but prolonged surgery, I guess.
Her issue is that she's not doing. She hit me like a few times the other day, but she didn't hit me in like the one spot that she needed to. Is what it was, and that's like the spot that's been hurting ever since. Is what it is.
I guess
so. But yeah, it's just like I don't know. Like I just feel like honestly, like, and this is why I've said many times, like I'm to the point now. I think we need a 20 Constitution right now, and it includes auto DQs from office right now. And it's like, yeah, if you're running on platforms of like ending human life for kids that aren't born yet, or you're cool with like taking gun rights and stuff like that, like no, you're done. Like you're gone. You're out of fucking the running entirely.
The problem is we got a bunch of idiots that think that way.
Well, that is an issue, and it makes sense because even like Landon himself right now, I was like a couple minutes ago here, and he said basically being a public education system, and it's like now it makes sense. You've been indoctrinated for like 12 years of your life, guy. Like, and then you went to college after that for the last like 4 years or so of your life. And I'm sure it's some like very much leftist institution at that point. It's like, yeah, like you're the last guy that needs to be in office right now, buddy. Like,
well, unfortunately, they think that degrees mean things, and so do some people that still think that way. And quite frankly, it's almost the opposite. Like, I don't know if you've seen that South Park episode where like all the handyman and like all the plumbers and
I have. It wasn't one of the specials or whatever. Where it was Randy.
Yeah, that pimped out truck.
yeah. Well, it was them being like, "Oh, I don't know how to do the bolts on a freaking oven or whatever the case be." It's like, dude, you look at a fucking video and do it that way.
Right. Like that's unfortunately becoming reality. I'm seeing it more and more. Like I'm seeing really nice contractor vehicles and stuff, and I'm seeing people that like lawyer offices have like older vehicles that are kind of like missing paint and stuff. I'm like, yeah, you need practical stuff before you get all the other bougie stuff. You know what I mean?
Well, and that's what I've said many times when it comes to grid down stuff. It's like, yeah, it's not going to be people like this Landon guy that's going to survive with their dumbass, 4-year bachelor's degree over the case be. It's going to be somebody like myself or whoever else that has a skill set that can actually start a fire and cook some shit is what it is then.
Yep. For sure, dude.
So
might be the great equalizer.
Yeah. But yeah, it just bothers me to see these people like this that are just like, especially when they're trying, like, and I understand you're slinging the mud at the other person and being like, oh, but this person has done this, this, and that, or whatever the case. But yeah, they don't actually talk about how that same person is responsible for why Ohio has constitutional carry right now, while we have stand your ground right now, which is what this Jennifer Gross woman has done. She was a party line vote for that, both this piece of legislation here in the state a couple years ago.
Yep.
So anyway, but yeah, I think that's about it for the day, though. I think we basically have run this one into the ground probably about 40 minutes ago, honestly, and then I just kept talking shit about Landon. That's what it was then. So, because he is a pre-oath breaker, man. He really is at the end of the day.
I figured I'd try and
So,
anyway.
Yeah, he's definitely. I don't know. There's a lot of them that are like that, though, and again, I think at the end of the day, it's these people that are very like it does have to do a lot with narcissism, is what it is, and I think truthfully, like, looking at Landon's whole thing, like it reminds me honestly of a young me at that point, because it was after the whole thing I had with my medical issues and stuff like that. At 18, I was going to run for office back then, is what it was, and if I had run back then, I would have actually run as a Democrat because I was default Democrat voter at the time.
We can't be friends anymore. No, I'm just kidding.
That being said, at that time, I was also very pro-gun, very pro-life, etc. And I've gotten even more so since then.
Basically an old moderate.
Yeah, I was essentially like, I guess what Tim Pool would be, classic liberal, whatever the case be there. But I still believed in, like, or if you want to call it, like, blue dog Democrat, basically, that believes in gun rights, believes in all that stuff like that's what it is there.
Yeah. Honestly, I believe that class is just libertarian, and you just didn't know it because they weren't well represented.
And that's why I voted libertarian for a couple of years there until they stopped allowing us to vote libertarian, what it is then.
Right.
And of course, then I found, well, I'm going to rephrase that actually. I was a Ron Paul libertarian. There's a difference there because Ron Paul was pro-life, whereas the Libertarian Party platform is actually pro-abortion and stuff like that. So, yeah, I was pro Ron Paul libertarian side of it. And then, obviously, since they did the thing in 2013, I'm now default Republican voter is what it is now. So, even though not really any of those things because I'm actually my own political party is what it is then. So.
Hey, man. I feel you. Sorry, I got in at the back end of your chat. I just got home and started cooking.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Like I said, I was basically going to solo this one anyway, and then I figured you were out there. Might as well throw a link out there for you. So.
Yeah, man. Appreciate it.
But yeah, this Landon Meador guy is definitely one of the last people we need in the Ohio State House right now. He is a complete joke of a candidate. He most likely isn't going to win anyway because of the fact that, as far as I'm aware, the district he's running in against Jennifer Gross is very hard red. Just even determining by primaries and stuff like that, when it's like a 3-1 Republican to Democrat votership and stuff like that, that alone usually does talk about how things change. Like that's what it is there. So, and if it's usually that way, the primary, it's usually that way in the general election too, for that matter. So I wouldn't be surprised if it was like a couple 100,000 in grosses, or not quite. Sorry, not quite a couple 100,000. Probably about maybe 75,000 people voting for Jennifer Gross, and then like 20,000 voting for Landon or something like that. The case then, or something like that. In that district, more likely. So, but time will tell in about 6 months or so, whenever we have the actual general election, though. So,
right. Well, hey man, let me get a minute here. Make sure you guys go like, share, sub Ohio Patriots channel here. He is super duper into the political stuff, and especially if you're in the Ohio area. I mean, if you're not subbed to him, I don't know what the heck you're doing. He's a really knowledgeable guy. He's way up to date on the politics. He's like my politics oracle when I'm having a chat, or if I'm in a chat, I'm like, Ohio knows that, and you generally do. So he's pretty knowledgeable, guys. Make sure you give him some like, share, love. YouTube Super Duper Shadow Band, his first channel. So if you find him anywhere, he plugs in anywhere. Hop in his stuff, guys. He's a good dude. So.
And we're trying to get this channel to at least 100 subs right now.
Yeah,
I think we're at like 22 or something. So.
I remember when you first made it.
Yeah, other than that, that's where we're at for the day. Hope you guys enjoyed this. I will see you tomorrow for Buckshot Thursday, where we talk about a bunch of stuff, including if we have more updates to that Ramadan attack there in Philadelphia or not.
Yeah, I've seen something.
And from there, it'll be the end of the day. So
I also have a Tactical Muffin Top chat Thursday after Duke's chat.
As we always say here, always be caring, always protect yourself from especially tyrannical government, because you never know who's going to be tyrannical, even trying to get into government, and who's going to be a narcissistic piece of shit. And don't be a pre-oath breaker. Don't be an oath breaker. Just be somebody who actually respects the constitutional oath that you're going to take, is what it is. And it's as simple as that, really.
Amen.
Have a good one, y'all. Later.